All right. All right. All right. All right. Hello, 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 everybody. We are live. Another market open September 26th, 2022. We are back again. Wow, my voice cracked on that. UCUS, comment for the algo. Thank you for being here. You were first. Good morning, my guy. We have a lot of things to talk about today, especially in the currency world. The currency world and the British pound is getting a bit heavier, if you get my reference. And I'm getting a bit heavier too. I need to start working out. I have let myself go. To be honest, it's actually not the best. So I need to get on my pound. I'm trying to make a joke here. I don't know where the joke is. Anyway, Jay Schwab, what's up? Ahad, what's up? Alfred, what's up? Shoket, have a safe flight. Thank you, my guy. Lloyd, Uriel, Cameron, Jason, Joel, Juska, Ranbir, Nerd Shack. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all. I am going to Las Vegas today. It'll be an exciting day. I have not traveled in, I think, 3 years, especially with COVID. So going to be exciting to be there. We will be doing late night stock talks in Las Vegas today. Me and Gabe will be there along my videographer. So it'll be fun. You guys will be able to see all of us in Vegas. Probably going to do it at 8 p.m. Vegas time. No, 7 p.m. Vegas time. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing today. But we also are gonna be talking about the market. Wednesday podcast gym day. I love it. John, what's up? What's up? David, yeah, they're screwed. Yeah, they're not in the best position. So what's going on right now? What airline? United. What's going on right now with the British pound is actually very interesting. So I was reading a lot of articles this morning to understand a little bit more about it. The British pound and the UK in general have only 108 billion euros in their reserve currency assets, which is not enough for them to be able to save the pound from falling. The pound right now is reaching parity with the dollar, which is not a good thing. Essentially, that means it's becoming weaker. By contrast, Japan had $1.7 trillion to save their currency as it was starting to fall this year, which means central banks are likely going to be more hawkish in the UK, along with an energy crisis, along with fears of recession, which means it's just not looking good for what's going on in the UK. And that's, it's something that's probably going to spook markets right now. We are definitely down red in pre-markets. Not too red, but red enough for it to look like today's going to be a little bit more of a bloody day. Tesla 273 down about 0.56%. SPY 367 down a little bit. By the way, comment what you did over the weekend. I worked over the weekend pretty much. When I mean that, I'm actually serious. I literally just stayed on my computer and I worked. But comment below what you did over the weekend. I was looking forward to the market open because, it's I want to get back into see what's going on with stocks. I'm so excited to see what happens this week. I think this week is going to be a pivotal week as we enter into the month of October to see which way are we going. I've watched video after video. I've read article after article about, are we going up? Are we going down? And every single person has a different mentality, different mindset. Like, the Fed we're oversold, or no, we have to tame inflation. And it's just, the market's going to tell us what's actually going on. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it plays out. Amit, eventually everyone will be a mod on your channel. There's only 4 of you guys right now. Chris, Bacon, Jay Schwad, and Joel right now. KK Bet, just wanted your thoughts on the new Palantir news, DNA and SoFi, but next week it is. Oh, yes, where's Palantir news today? I forgot. I actually did a huge thread on it on Daily Palantir, so hold on. I was so obsessed with the British pound and currencies, I forgot to mention our beloved Palantir has some new news. So first of all, if you are not following the Daily Palantir account, I would recommend following it. I did a very extensive thread today to analyze the news that dropped. For those that don't know, let's get into it right here. And I'm going to read some of your comments for the weekend. So this weekend, I visited my parents and built furniture. It's a fun weekend, Showcat. I hate the weekends when my days off today or tomorrow, so I'm bored as hell. More videos to binge. I worked on my motorcycle. I wanted to do a motorcycle when I was younger. Now I'm kind of scared of them, but it's such a cool thing to have a motorcycle. Okay, so I'm not going to read through the whole thread, but essentially this is the PR. Okay, Palantir Technologies announced today that the Department of Homeland Security renewed its contract to support HSI with investigative case management software. That's their Foundry software for HSI. The contract was $95.9 million over a 5-year period. So 95 divided by 9, let's do that. Divided by 5, that's 19 million, about 20 million a year. I should have done that easily because 100 million divided by 5 is okay. Well, anyway. Now, why does this matter? So first of all, if you go through the PR that Palantir put out is so defensive. And the reason it's so defensive is because they know that people are going to interpret this news as they are working with ICE. The reason for this is because, ICE is a subsidiary of the Homeland Security administration. So in 2017, during the Trump administration, Palantir was seen as the most evil company in the world for working with the Division of Homeland Security, ICE. At the time, ICE was putting kids in cages, and there's a lot of nuance to what Palantir was doing there. But they were seen, that's when a lot of the majority of the articles that are still referenced today that rank in Google search for Palantir, literally, if you Google them, I mean, they will come up, it gave Palantir its negative image. So let me show you guys the actual PR. The stock is up like 0.41%. Stock really didn't move too much on this news. But look at the PR. Look at the PR and what they are saying. So right here, since 2011, Palantir has partnered with HSI to advance its mission of investigating and preventing transnational crime and high-level threats that exploit international trade, travel, and financial infrastructure. Their core mission includes combating human trafficking, child exploitation, dismantling international drug trafficking, and disrupting cyber criminals. All of this stuff is correct, what the HSI does. The problem is everyone associates HSI with ICE. So I think Palantir really purposefully beefed up this PR to really explain that this is bad. So that this is a good thing that they're working with them. For example, the HSI team has used ICM, which is their software, to support the enforcement of sanctions on Russian oligarchs, the arrest of foreign mercenaries for the assassination of former president of Haiti, and the arrest of key cartel leaders. Last year, their impact included 34,000 criminal arrests, seizures of 14,000 pounds of fentanyl, and $822 million worth of counterfeit and illicit goods, and stopping 1,177 child exploitation victims. So this is a good thing. You should sleep well at night as a Palantir shareholder knowing that their software is being used with the HSI to stop a lot of these bad things from happening. The problem is the ICE thing is the only thing that really gets mainstream media attention. I want to play a little clip right here of Karp talking about ICE because obviously it is still controversial and there are nuances to it. But these are his thoughts on what it feels like working with ICE.
Places you've been criticized is for your work at the border with immigration and customs enforcement. Was there ever a time that you wished you had not done work for ICE?
Absolutely. Completely.
You wish you'd never done it?
No. You asked, is there ever a time? Did I suffer? Look, everyone in my family thinks voting for Biden is right of center. I've had some of my favorite employees leave.
Over ICE?
Over ICE. I had people protesting me, some of whom I think asked really legitimate questions. I have asked myself, if I were younger at college, would I be protesting me?
It sounds like yes. What is their most valid criticism?
That if you are involved in anything that one instance of injustice, does it tarnish all instances of justice? And I see this question in every single thing we do. And by the way, not just in ICE, I see this with our work with clandestine services. I mean, our product is used on occasion to kill people.
This is drone targeting, or what is this?
Targeting of all kinds. If you're looking for a terrorist in the world now, you're probably using our government product, and you're probably doing the operation that actually takes out the person in another product we built.
So what Karp is saying there is it goes back to the larger argument, and I did a video on this a while ago, that you can't just stop working with ICE because you disagree with some of the things they do politically, because it's just a subsidiary of HSI, and what they do, as I outlined in the PR, is so vast. So there may be some moral things you have to deal with here, but at the end of the day, if you're selling software that's killing people through drone targeting, these are fundamentally nuanced issues that you have to be able to resolve in a intersubjective manner, not just blanketly say one is good, one is bad. And that's really the way the media gets attention. And I don't blame them. I mean, you have to have these types of headlines to be able to attract attention, but sometimes it's disingenuous. And I think that's sort of the core point that Karp was making there. So that's the big Palantir news for the day. $95 million contract. Is it going to move the stock? Most likely not. Let's look at the Palantir stock right now. Palantir Technology, 740, 738, 0.27% down right now in the pre-market. Really, I don't expect a lot of action here, but I am debating whether I load up now or whether I load up later. I have a good $5,000 that I want to throw into Palantir. Obviously, you guys know my average is $19. I am as bullish as I've ever been on this company, and I believe they will grow over the next 5 years. And this will be from here a multi-bagger, at least from here. My average, 19 is annoying, right? So my question is just when is the time? And that's why I'm trying to analyze the macro a little bit more. I've DCA'd a little bit, but not DCA to the level I want to DCA. Like a ticker, like a symbol like Ginkgo Bioworks, I'm loading up every day because this is not the right one, but my conviction for it is only deepening. And at these levels, the price is just phenomenal. Like the valuation is phenomenal for where I think the long-term potential is. Palantir, I still think has a little bit more ways to fall from a technical perspective. DNA also, I think, has bottomed. It could go a little bit lower, but I think it's nearing the bottom. Palantir, we don't know. So we are going to see. I want to see what Google does today. Morning amid, morning glitch life, amid DCA, just not DNA. Chris, I'm DCAing, but I'm also DCAing into DNA. We have 25 seconds till the market opens. Chris, you're annoyed at some of my stock picks. You will also be annoyed in 25 seconds. For those that are new to the channel, first of all, put in the comments if you're new. I would love to know if anyone's new here. This is your first market open. This is the bell. I don't know if I can bring this to Vegas because I don't know if TSA will allow it. I feel like they would, but I'm kind of paranoid about it. Also because I'm brown and I have a beard, so I kind of don't want to get stuck up at TSA. But we will have a market open in Vegas no matter what. It is 9:30, September 26, 2022. The stock market in the United States is open. Wake your ass up. The stock market is open. Let's get into some big names. Tesla down 1.38% pre-market or opening market 271. Apple below 150, 149, 89. QQQ 274.96. Barely down from Friday. Wow. S&P, yeah, that's fine. 366 down 0.45%. 360 is what we're thinking, is what we're testing for the June lows. A lot of investor focus in the macro is going to be focused on, do we hit 360? Can we get below our June lows? That's going to be a really important level. Netflix 225, Costco 466, Meta 140, 0.25% up in the opening bell. Meta hit 138.89 as its 52-week low. It is now lower than what it was in 2017. Still not buying Meta, still not fully on board with it, but it is trading 11 times free cash flow, which is, I mean, it's called cheap for like, it's cheap at the end of the day. Spotify, $89, Google, $98.96. Google, I would love to get lower in the 95 range. I've been DCAing, have about 7 shares to start my position. I started it 2 weeks ago. Would love to get it to about 20 shares. So going to see how that plays out. Adobe recovering a little bit, 286 from the fiasco that was 2 weeks ago, which again, I think it was a good deal, but in this market, it was a rough deal. Open Door 3175. A quick announcement at 12:30, my interview with Meet Kevin is dropping. I hope you all check it out. And he commented on Open Door and really called them a stupid company. So it's some interesting thoughts that he put up around Open Door that we'll be able to analyze today. Here we go. Super chat. Pat P, thank you for the $5 super chat. Means the world. I believe a lot of tax log harvesting still yet to come this year, late November, for buying more Palantir. Yeah, I agree with that as well. A lot of investors might be tax loss harvesting into the end of the year to save on their money or save on their taxes. That bell makes me feel like I'm at church. Old memories. I love it. I finally got Google at 102, waiting for 80s next. Yeah, I agree. I mean, getting it a little bit lower than 98 would be nice. I'm brown with a beard and never got stopped. Well, that's a good thing. I got stopped once at TSA. This was like in 2016. It's not a big deal. I'm just playing around, but it's still annoying. Bro, let's just go to AC and blow all your Ginkgo money on craps. Chris, I think you're so wrong on this company. I can't even explain how wrong I think you are. And the cool thing is one of us is going to be right. In a couple of years, one of us will be right. And I think you are so dead wrong on this company because you're just being lazy to not research them. Like, yeah, we'll see. We will see. ARK at $38.23. Robinhood at $9.50, now offering 3% interest, which is 23 times more than a checkings account is able to do. SoFi at $5.40. My conviction for this company has only gotten deeper and deeper, and I would like to really increase my position here as I'm listening to the CEO. I mean, Anthony Noto at the end. I binged about 3 of his interviews this weekend. The guy is an absolute rock star when it comes to leadership. SoFi grew 50% ending Q2 2022 with revenues $356 million. They grew members 4.3 million. I mean, if they can keep these growth rates up, the market's going to have to recognize it at one point. It's just a question of how it's going to play out in the macro. All right, let's see what the talking heads are talking about on CNBC. I watched a couple takes they had this morning. Again, it's the same. Some people think a recession. Some people think it's not going to recession. And it's just like, I guess you got to do what you got to do. We have, where is this guy? We have Mohammed Erin, which is probably the most respected guy on CNBC. So let's hear his opinion and see what he's talking about. Just put the cowbell in your pants. That'll be awesome. I'm team Amit on this. I like Spotify a lot, but overvalued at this price. 60s, I may grab more. You think Spotify's going at 60? I don't know if it would go to 60. Goodness. I mean, I'm not that bullish on Spotify, but 60 would be low. All right, let's see what Mohammed has to say.
To see you again. Just on Friday, we were discussing the crazy moves that we've been seeing in the fixed income markets as well as the currency markets. And yet here we are again today. And I'm wondering what your take is this morning, given what we have seen go on.
So Melissa, it's more of the same as we spoke on Friday. It's not just about the big paradigm shifts, 3 of them. This is about governments and central banks being sources of volatility rather than volatility suppressors. So they are adding to the volatility in the markets. That's particularly clear in the UK, but also in the US with the Fed. And it's also about horrible technicals. It's quite a mess in some of these markets. And these are the main markets for the global economy. So it's not a good scene. Hopefully it's going to calm down. But we've also got to make sure that policymakers stop adding to the volatility, because that's what they've been doing recently.
Telling politicians to stop doing something is probably going to prove unsuccessful, Mohammed. But I'm curious what direction you see, like the S&P 500 going, world industry.
Interesting. Okay, she's asking for his predictions for the index. So let's hear what he has to say here. I'm predicting him should be bearish, but let's see.
Is going, and I'm wondering if you think that there's any sort of compounding effect of policy mistakes, not just here, but also abroad, if it makes things even worse, that all these things are going on in concert.
So Melissa, first of all, just to be clear, okay, there is no victory lap with my bet with Joe whatsoever. In fact, if anything, I should acknowledge that his Bengals beat my Jets pretty badly yesterday. Also, I don't hope for markets to go down. I remember explicitly saying that I wish I am wrong, but I was asked, what is more likely?
Well, let's not imply that you have a victory yet, because I didn't take a victory lap at 43.20 when I was up 8%. We're down 8% now from 4,000. It's not done yet. And I'm hoping.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Right. Are we going to a Jets game or a Mets? Are we going to a Jets game or a Mets game?
Oh, no,
if you eventually win, let's say you win. Where are we going?
If I win, capital I, capital F.
It's got to close below there. It's got to close below 3,600. Okay, that's just. And if it does, I will tell you you were right. And
bro, no matter how old you get, humans will always be competitive, like always.
And we will go and we're going to have fun.
Okay, and to be clear, Joe, I don't want to be right. Okay, so to go back to the question of Melissa,
for a lot of reasons.
But to go back to the question of Melissa, my 401k is in play. To go back to the question of Melissa, what is clear is we have this relentless increase in yields, this relentless appreciation of the dollar. They are both bad news for corporates. They are bad news for the economy. And until we can break this cycle, and the reason why this last...
Real quick, let's look at the 2-year treasury bonds. They are still inverted. I mean, this has not changed. The 2-year T-note gives you 4.261% on your money, 10-year 3.7%, which means you get paid more for a less amount of time, which means less risk on your capital versus the 10-year. That inversion has not gone away.
Last leg up in yields is happening. And the reason why this last leg up in the dollar index is happening is because we are the safe haven. There are fires burning all over, not just the developing world, but the advanced countries. And we are the safe haven. And one consequence of that is our currency gets stronger and our yields have to somewhat follow what's happening elsewhere in the world. So that is the tragedy that we're in right now. If we didn't have inflation, if we didn't have a Fed behind the curve, our yields would be coming down.
That's so interesting. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because the rest of the world is shrinking and our currency is the reserve currency of the world, the United States dollar, our yields are going up and they're following that same trend. The problem is with inflation, that's ruining the entire stock market, because then if inflation is going up and yields are going up, why would you put your money in the stock market? You're getting more from yields, and inflation is rising interest rates, which is screwing over valuations on most growth names. And to be honest, not just growth names, all stocks in general at the end of the day. So we need inflation to go down, for interest rates to go down, for investors to feel that putting money into stocks is a better option than putting money into bonds based on the yield rates you're going to get. And ultimately, it's just a question of when inflation actually goes down. The market has switched to green. So Ginkgo up 3.2%. As you can see, Roku up 3%. Palantir up 4.32%. Not bad on the day. Robinhood up to 1%. Now, is this green going to last? Who knows? It is completely green, though. It is very, very green. Not a crazy bounce up, but definitely not red either. What is the reason for this? I don't know. I mean, your bet is as good as mine. Why 9 minutes after the market opens, we go completely green. Let's look at Duolingo. Chris is obsessed with this stupid stock. Duolingo 9103. First of all, on the max, all right, so on the 5-year, they're down from their IPO of 140. By the way, I say stupid in a fun way. I don't actually think they're stupid, but look, Duolingo is a company. It's like Rosetta Stone, but in the modern era. I researched about them. Most of their revenue is ads because people don't pay for the premium thing, which is fine. If they expand into like math and other stuff, you see things like a pseudo Khan Academy. Maybe it's a good play. But I don't think the market for learning languages is that like, I mean, it's big. I don't know if it's like, this is going to be like a $100 billion company type of big. Could it be like a $10-15 billion company? Yeah, potentially. Just not that exciting to me if their business model is ads at the end of the day. Bonds have taken a hit too. That's true. Yes, Chris, let's talk about Duolingo next week. Let's do a podcast on that. Let's talk about it. And then we'll keep going from there. Tesla AI Day coming up, maybe a new Apple bot. That would be interesting. Definitely to see what they are doing with the AI. Duolingo is on most Android sites. It's a pretty big market. Yes, I agree. It's a pretty big market. I'm not saying it's not a big market. I guess I need to look more into how they monetize, because if they just get more users and they show them more ads, I mean, I don't know really. If they really get a subscription, there's value there to me. But 98% of their users, this is a fact, do not pay for the subscription. They get ads. So, I mean, like, yes, you can increase your advertising, but I don't know how else they monetize outside of subscription or ads, which is why their stock took a really big hit this year. It bottomed at around 60. Not bearish on the company. I just don't understand their business. And obviously, I haven't done a lot of research on them. But when you compare it to something like Ginkgo Bioworks, that's building an app store for cell-based programming for synthetic biology. Like, it's just, and it's trading at roughly the same valuation, a little bit higher. I don't know. It's a little bit more exciting to put my money there versus, like, at the end of the day, when you're investing in a company, it's not just from the technicals, unless you're doing options or trading. You're also investing in the long-term vision of that company. I am investing in Ginkgo for an idea that the world will be synthetically, biologically created, and lots of drugs and all this stuff will be created on an app store in which the company has royalty and equity stakes in, which is risky, but really cool. Do I want to invest in a company that's going to make people learn how to say, how are you, in 17 different languages? I mean, I don't care. Like, that doesn't inspire me at all. It's not interesting, you know? Like SoFi, AWS, a fintech. That's really interesting. New financial companies using that's really cool. That gets me excited. Rosetta Stone on steroids does not. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That's just how I feel. Okay, let's go to Wejo. So Wejo is the company that is flying me out there. By the way, hold on. I got to show you guys this thing. Hold on. Okay, so they sent me this thing yesterday. Let me unshare my screen so I can show you guys this. For anyone, let me know if anyone has Wejo stock. So this is what they sent me right here in the mail. Dear Mitt, I'm thrilled you've accepted our invitation to Las Vegas track day, blah, 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 blah. And at the end, they say, I look forward to meeting you. And they're going to be introducing some really interesting software in Las Vegas. I still have no idea what they're introducing, but we're going to be like driving with pro racers. And for some reason, their software is going to play a big role. So they sent me this VIP, a very important person. This is cool, bro. I'm not a very important person, but it's cool seeing that. So Wejo is going to be interesting. Now the stock, I don't own any of the stock. Wejo representatives, if you're watching this, don't hate me. I've also recommended to not buy the stock, so don't hate me as well. I mean, if I had $10, I'd rather put it into Palantir versus Wejo because I get exposure to Wejo via Palantir. However, at these valuations, it's looking attractive. I mean, it's trading at 15 on the RSI. I mean, it's below 30, which means oversold to a very strong extent. I just don't understand enough about their business model still. I know they get paid for their data. I know they get paid for how they process it. I still don't understand exactly the profit margin. Like, I've been quite honestly lazy, and I haven't dug deep into their financials. The company is incredibly exciting. The promise, the potential, all that stuff. I do not think this is a Palantir SPAC that's going to go out of business. Some of the Palantir SPACs might go out of business. I think this one is going to be here to stay. I think Palantir is going to help them out in the long term. I think they're doing amazing partnerships. I just literally don't know enough about the business. So the more I learn, the more I'll be able to have greater conviction around Wejo. Juan, I made it. Still working for it. Still working every day. All right, so let's go into the talking heads and see what else they're doing and see some analysis there. What do we want? All right, let's look at this one. The risk of the Fed going overboard and causing a recession. See, this is a guy who's saying the Fed is doing too much, whereas you had Mohammed who's saying the Fed is not doing enough.
Krishna, just philosophically, is the Fed the arsonist trying to put out its own fire at this point?
Well, that might be a little bit harsh, but I think what is the case is that having fallen behind the curve, then scrambled to play catch up, the Fed now looks to me like it's in danger of getting stuck in a hamster wheel of these big 75 basis point type rate hikes going higher and higher before they've had time to learn from the economic data exactly how far they should be going. Remember, policy works with time lags. And I think the risk is rising here that the Fed ends up overdoing it and causing a recession that may, but may not have been unavoidable, in order to bring this inflation down. And this, of course, at a time when the UK is in a total mess and there are many other problems globally.
Krishna, the job market is remaining strong, and we know that there's still some sticky inflation in the employment picture, but a day doesn't go by where we don't hear some kind of, well, it's a new normal in terms of a hybrid workforce. There's an article in the Journal today about all these people that just want to live at home, want to stay at home, and maybe it's with their parents, maybe it's not, but so you're dealing with what might be a different situation in the job. What if everything else in the economy is saying we are really in a sharp slowdown, but the employment picture stays strong because of the participation rate, or people got used to, the post-pandemic issues keep the job market looking strong, but the Fed misses that the economy is really falling off a cliff. Isn't that possible, that they're not data dependent?
Well, I think you're certainly flagging up some important issues here. So what I'd say is two things. First of all, I do think that the Fed's got to be careful with these lags, time lags, and also with a potential mismatch between the bottoms up and top down picture. Just as the bottoms up picture flagged more persistent inflation risks, a year ago when it wasn't so clear in the macro data the Fed focuses on. So right now we see more company level anecdote that's going in the direction of perhaps more disinflationary pressures starting to come through the system. The other thing I would say is that, you're right, the new normal labor market may look quite different from the one we were used to. I think the way I sort of read the Fed, though, is that they feel that they have to have at least one of two things go right before they could really slow down and think possibly about stopping a little further down the line. Either you have to see the real inflation data subsiding itself, or you have to see the momentum and strength of the labor market.
So his argument about the labor market is absolutely correct. I mean, like, the biggest problem I think the Fed is dealing with, which is what Jerome Powell said, is that there's 11 million jobs and there's not enough people to take those jobs. And as a result of there being so many jobs and not enough people to be able to take those jobs, well, that means wages are going to go up. Because, I mean, there's people, I was talking to my dad this morning. He said one of his friend's son is 17 doing Uber and Lyft, making like $1,400 a week. Like, prices are just going up at the end of the day. And so, and that's why the Fed wants to induce a recession, because if more people get laid off, your job gets more scarce, which means the value of that job matters more, which means you're willing to take a less wage, which means less impact on the economy. And I guess that ends up helping. The question is, at what level of pain does that end up helping? All right, let's look into this one. Apple is a defensive player. Apple stock is a stock that I've been trying to understand a lot more. To be honest, I have no clue how I feel about Apple going up or down, but let's see.
Great to see you.
Good morning.
What do you see for the S&P charts at this point?
So, I mean, I think we're all obviously looking at the same thing, which is to say, do we or don't we make a new low? Do we undercut that mid-June low, June 16, June 17? And, you know, there's one way to try to figure it out, I think that perhaps is the best, and it's this. It's to look at other aggregates as well as constituents within the S&P and then make inferences, which is to say the semiconductor index, the Philadelphia, is below its June low. The KBW Bank Index is below. The Dow Jones Transportation Average is below. The Dow Jones Industrial is below. And then most of Europe. And so not only that, but major stocks within the S&P. So the thinking is that the S&P itself will in fact undercut the low. Then the question is, by how much? One thing we're looking at is the MSCI All Country World Index, which is about 45 trillion, 10 trillion more than the S&P in total market cap. It is now not only undercut.
By the way, Apple is 7.3% of the entire S&P 500.
Cutting its June low, but it's back to its pre-COVID high, almost precisely. So it has given back all of the gains associated with the COVID recovery. Were the S&P simply to do that, we have an 8% drawdown from here. That would take us to 3,400. I think that's as reasonable a price objective or a level.
Interesting. So if we get down to the March 2020 lows of Apple, we're looking at 3,400 on the S&P 500. Look, it's kind of reasonable with some of the numbers I've been hearing as well. So I would expect that 3,400. Let's look at how green we are. Well, we're not like destroyed this morning. We're not absolutely destroyed. I feel like one of the bigger risks of the whole market failing is because the biggest company, Apple, hasn't fallen that much relatively. I agree. I mean, Apple, it was at 129 in the real lows. So if we've got another 8% coming on the S&P and Apple goes down another, let's say 15%, which would be pretty bad, that's where I think we're getting to a real bottom. Opinion on Zim. I don't have much of an opinion on Zim, but Gabe, who was in the chat above, you can go to his channel. He did a whole video on Zim. So you can give a lot more analysis on that company. He's using it as a trade, not as a long-term bet. I think extreme fear is now here. DC into your favorite companies, waited out, enjoying future years. I basically agree with that. I grabbed a lower possible low on S&P than 3,400. Yeah, and that's going to be interesting. I mean, there are people saying it might go to 2,700. This is what we're like. We don't know where it's going. We don't know. One of my friends said they think Apple's going to 120 by the end of the year. I was thinking 130s. Well, let's go to Apple. Hold on. Apple hit 129. And I should have bought it. I remember seeing it, but bro, in June, everyone thought that Saturday, I was at ShopRite. Okay. I went to get a burger. ShopRite is this $5 meal where you get two sides, but they stopped giving chicken nuggets as the side. They did that for like 5 months and they said, you can't get chicken nuggets as the side. And I was like, why? They were like, cause you can't. I think it's because of inflation, but they made up some rules saying, no, you can only get fries. And I was really pissed off because I was like, why can't we get chicken nuggets? But anyway, I was there and I'm at ShopRite. I'm looking at Bitcoin Saturday morning fall to 17K or whatever while I'm eating this $5 burger. And I'm just like, the world is ending. I literally was like, the world is absolutely ending. And so I was like, I'm not buying anything because the world is ending. When in fact, that was the best time to buy. So 128.86, that was June 30th, 2022, is what we had on Apple. So we've got to get to 120, which is what, a couple percentage points, a little bit lower, 4 or 5%, a little bit lower on that. To see, how bad it goes. Zim is a trade, not an investment. Okay, so it is a trade on that. Why does Amit have so many mods? Bro, there's only like 5 mods. Do I need to have a competition for more mods or something? Amit, you really trust Meet Kevin. Something about him feels shady. Look, I love Meet Kevin from his work ethic perspective. That has always been my thesis. I've been very consistent about this. The way this guy works and hustles is something like the videos are actually informative. You can disagree with his editorial spin, but the level of research it takes to produce one of his videos is phenomenal. Do I think he's a scam? No. Do I think he's a fraud? No. Do I think the company has a chance of being successful? Yeah. Do I think it could fail? Yeah. I mean, just like my startup, it could fail, it could succeed. So at the end of the day, I think the guy knows what he's doing in real estate and he has a loyal audience. He has distribution to attention, which is going to be good. And he has a big chance to make this company big. But it's a risk. It's a startup. At the end of the day, there's a risk associated with it. So at the end of the day, I love him do I love him shilling out his courses all the time and all this stuff? No, but like, it's whatever at the end of the day. Like, that's his business. I can't knock a guy for getting money. I care about the content of the research. That's what I deeply appreciate. And that's why I've always been a Meet Kevin fan. Like, I've never been a quote unquote Meet Kevin hater on YouTube. At least I don't think I've done that. Amit, when are you going to start buying Snow? I will never buy. No, I'm not. Never buy. Let's go to Snow's chart right now. Look, Snowflake, the reason I'm head fast on I will never buy them is because this valuation is stupid. Like, the people that got rich off Snowflake got rich. And, like, great job to them. Warren Buffett, awesome job. Even though the guy doesn't know what technology is, he got rich off Snowflake. Like, that's, you want to talk about shady. Like, but this valuation is ridiculous to me. Their growth rate is great, but I would rather put that capital in something like Palantir. A 3x on Snowflake means they have to turn into a $150 billion company. They're at a $55.6 billion market cap right now. A 3x on Palantir means they have to go from 15 to 45. Palantir has to be worth $10 billion less than Snowflake right now for you to get a 3-bagger on your money. Whereas Snowflake has to be worth 3 times more than they are right now for you to get a 3-bagger. And the market cap means going from 55 to 155 versus 15 to 45. I mean, where are you going to get the 3x quicker? Like, it's and which company is actually building technology that matters? It's just I don't know. It's Snowflake's not helping Ukraine deal with Russia, so not interesting to me at this stage of my life. There's no point to diversify into a lot of SaaS companies. I got to go for the ones that I actually care about and really hone in on those. I want an Audia hoodie. Bro, can you guys tell me if, like, I don't want to sell these because I appreciate you guys so much. I don't want to be seen as I'm making money off this. The way, if I sell Audia hoodies, the way we would do it is I would take the profits and put it into like a public YouTube stock portfolio. I do not want to take that money and put it in my pocket because I don't want to make money off of merch for my startup. But if people actually want this and I could sell it for like 30, 40 bucks, and I don't know, we make like 10, 15 bucks after shipping, I would just take that money and put it all into a stock and literally do it live. But I do not want to make a profit on these hoodies. But I want people to wear the hoodies, but I can't afford to send them out because we raised some money, but not enough to just be sending out free hoodies. I got to be a bit more capital efficient because the economy might crash into a recession. So we got to see. Amit, do you like Salesforce? Okay, so Salesforce is interesting. Salesforce, I watched a little bit of their Dreamforce presentation this weekend on Saturday. They do a presentation called Dreamforce every year, which this is the first time they did it in person the past 2 years. They are trying to drive the company to $50 billion in revenue by full year 2026. This was the CEO, Mark Benioff's comments at Dreamforce. They are at a $150 billion market cap right now. So they're at a price to sales of 5. If they get $50 billion in revenue in 2026, you could imagine they would be trading probably at a 3x from here. Round about that, or 2.5x from here. So if you believe in what Benioff says, that in 4 years they can get 50 billion in revenue. Now, I don't know exactly the EBITDA margins on that. I got to go deeper into that. But at a price to sales of 5 right now, if you believe Salesforce is one of the most important SaaS companies in the world, it did hit 311 back in November 2021. It has the potential to double, maybe even 2.5x. Which I mean, that would be interesting. I in general don't care that much about their software. It doesn't seem that interesting. Customer relation management is cool, but it's been around for the past 2 decades. Palantir is doing something way cooler. And so I'm looking at Palantir again, Salesforce 150 billion. You need to get this to a $300 billion market cap to 2x. Palantir needs to go from a $15 billion company to a $30 billion company to 2x. So again, I always make these things relative to like my highest convictions, and none of them beat my highest convictions. Only DNA and SoFi have beat and Google have beat my highest conviction of Palantir to allocate capital to, because Google is one of those large cap techs just that I think can easily double because it's Google, like it's freaking Google. And then you've got SoFi and DNA that are easy to meet 3-5 baggers over the next 5-6 years. So I guess we got to see. Ask Kelly to hook you up with Shopify drop shipping without. I can't drop ship these hoodies. These hoodies are, you have to actually custom make them. Amit, please sell your hoodies on Wish. Need your help. Jay Shaw, you always do Wish. Take your money from the hoodies and reinvest it into your company. I mean, yeah, but the problem is that I was thinking the question is like accounting purposes. Do you say this is revenue for the company? It would literally just be my dollars being put into the company. But that's actually a good point. I just want to be very explicit about what I do with that money. And like if I say, oh, I'm reinvesting it back into Audia, people might be like, no, he's not. Like, what am I going to buy that's going to prove it, right? But I don't want to sell them for profit. I don't want to do that. Only sell Audia merch to people. Andre, this is a great suggestion. Sell the merch to people meeting certain criteria. That actually makes it a lot easier. Like you have to upload 10 Audias, then you can get merch. That's a great concept. I actually love that. This is why Andrej, by the way, those who don't know, he is an investor in the company. This is where investors actually are giving some good advice. That makes a lot of sense. I think I'll do that. I think we'll have a little criteria. That way, even if we make $10 off of it, it's not a big deal. And that criteria it's almost like you're sending it to a brand ambassador to an extent. ABCL, Apsarella Biologics, $2.6 billion market cap. I've not dug into them yet. I know you guys have been berating me in the chat to look into it. Honestly, I spent a lot of time this weekend looking into Ginkgo and SoFi, so did not have time to research them, but eventually I will. They're interesting. I think Sachin likes this company as well, so it's very interesting as well. So got to go deep into it. Hoodies are cool, man. I'd be happy to use it as a community sports unit. It'd be good to think we helped a little. Awesome. All right, so we'll get the hoodies. We'll get that. I'll get working on that probably in the next 2 weeks. I'll try to set something up like that. Salesforce is legit. I like it. Works here well at work. If I had to choose Salesforce over Palantir, niche for scale, but Salesforce is a very simple stock. As a safe play, 100%. I would bet on Salesforce as well. Palantir is just something more exponential. All right, the market is pretty much green. I'm going to look at CNBC. There's nothing crazy. Let's look at if there's any big headlines. Nothing in chain. British pound is the biggest news. Market's pretty much green, so that's pretty much it. I've got to get going because I got to catch an Uber to the airport. First of all, thank you, 187 people, for being here. Really appreciate it. I've done the market open and market close for 2 weeks in a row now consistently, and late night stock talk. So I love being consistent, and I know you guys appreciate me being consistent, and I appreciate people showing up when you're actually consistent. So it's awesome. Late night stock talks will be down tonight with Gabe around 7 p.m. Las Vegas time, so 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will not be able to do the market close on the 27th and 28th. 28th, I'm going to be interviewing Jeremy from Financial Education Echoes, and I know you're going to get a kick out of that. And 27th, I'll be at the Wejo event, but we will vlog that, so you guys will see everything going on in the Wejo event, which again, this is what they sent me. Super, super cool event. It is a Palantir SPAC, so it's really nice, because I think I've helped influence the Palantir community on YouTube. And Palantir hasn't reached out, but a company they invested in has reached out. So maybe one day Palantir will reach out. So pretty cool. Excited to show updates on that. And I believe I still will be able to do the market open every day this week. So I think market open, we're going to still be able to do. In fact, Gabe might be in one of the market opens because we're going to be in the same hotel room. So, all right, that's it. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. The Meet Kevin interview dropping at 12:30. Would appreciate everyone checking it out. I think it was a fun interview. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. And he was a great guy, so it was super dope. Thank you, everybody. I will see you guys in Vegas tonight at around 10 p.m. Eastern for late night stock talks. See you guys.